Okay, we're ready?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. So welcome tonight to the Public Works and Environmental Services Committee meeting being held today, Tuesday, March 16th at 6 p.m., being held electronically and transmitted via the council chambers per ministerial order M192. So we'd like to first acknowledge that we are conducting our business on the traditional territory of the Subas First Nations, and thank you. I'd like to remind staff and council that we're live streaming this meeting on our Lake Cowichan Council YouTube channel and ask that everybody ensure your faces are visible on the screen. Also, I'd like to remind everyone to please unmute their microphones before they speak. And for the public, we have two portions of our meeting tonight that are for public participation, and they are as follows. The verbal comments from the public on a subsequent item on the agenda. We'll pause the meeting for 3 minutes to allow residents to email their comments to general@lakecowichan.ca, and you can go ahead and send your comments now if you'd like. Or you can phone and put your question in at 250-749-6681. And is that only during the question period, Mr. Fernandez? Or anytime?
Anytime.
Anytime, okay. And also at the question period mark, there will be another 3-minute meeting, or sorry, a meeting, pause in the meeting for 3 minutes to allow residents to email their questions again to general@Lake Cowichan, or once again to phone 250-749-6681, or at any time you can email before or during the meeting. And so thank you for attending our meeting tonight. And we will begin with a call to order. So introduction of any late items. Mayor Day. You're muted.
Not paying attention to the rules. So under notices of motion, I would just like to introduce an item for a follow-up meeting at a later date on tourism amenities, and I'll describe that when we get there. Thank you.
Notice of motion. Were there any other late items? Okay, seeing that, we're looking for the approval of the agenda as amended by Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Sandu. So all in favor? Moved. So business arising and any unfinished business is B is our ongoing item, which will be the parking issue. So are we turning this over to our superintendent? Mr. Sandu?
Yeah, I can speak on that. You guys have got a report, probably had a chance to go over it. Is there any particular questions, or should we just kind of go over it?
Councillor Austin, sorry, I'm getting a big glare of sunshine.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, the way I read over it, it's very good. I'm just wondering if the 1 or 2 hour parking is only April to October. And one of the other questions that when I've been around talking to people too, perhaps it would be a good idea to put no long-term parking signs on either side of Sidewalk and at the Pharmasave, because people that are coming back from last year will not realize that. It just might be something to remind them. And painting lines in the Pharmasave parking lot. I told them that most likely would be done this year, but I will ask you that now.
Yeah, I think it needs it. They're pretty wore out, those ones on that parking lot.
So is this just a preliminary draft here for the parking?
It is, yes. We're still working on a few items, but yeah, welcome to anybody's input yet. If you guys have any opinions or thoughts, yeah, we'd like to hear them.
Okay, I'll pass it now to Councillor Sandu and then Mayor Bob Day.
I think since we've started the process of making contact with Robbins Parking and whatnot, that we had decided after last summer that we are going to have like a subcommittee, the RCMP representative council, a chamber representative, area I and F, Lake Cowichan First Nations. So I think we honestly need to get that rolling into a meeting next week or the week after at the latest. Since we've got this information, there still needs to be the discussion with the community. And I don't think we need all the businesses coming forth, but if we have Brent or a representative from the Chamber of Commerce executive, then we could start these discussions. But we're into the middle of March and we don't have much time. So I'd like to get a date.
Okay, Mayor Day.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Sandu, I believe we spoke about that and we bring it up at the regular council meeting and set a date. So if I might comment on where we're at so far in this report, there are no recommendations. So I can assume that it's open to conversation, any suggestions that council would like to put forward. So just by looking at the report, you know what, I just think that if we're going to seriously look at this and make a good decision moving forward, that we can't just rely on the residents per se that want to be able to park in front of the drugstore when the exact time they want to get their drugs. And maybe we could put the drugstore involved in looking after the parking that they've been offered by the town and asking them to ask their staff maybe not to take up 7 or 8 spots in that parking lot. Instead, park further away from their business and leave those parking lot that they've been allotted by the town through a past agreement to their customers instead of them. And I see that all over town. I mean, the BC government liquor store employees, from my past experience, insist on parking in the row, not right in front of their business, but the next row out, when that should be reserved for customers. And there's plenty of off-street parking and less premium parking elsewhere, and as there is in our downtown area on all the side streets, which, contrary to some of the opinions that may have been expressed by residents, does not belong to the residents of the town. It belongs to the town and it's free for parking. If you go downtown to Victoria, you do not get to say, that's my parking spot in front of my house. It's there for the use of everyone. So, and that furthers along my commentary, and I'm sorry if this might sound long-winded, but I did attend an urban planning, urban systems seminar about parking, and they suggest that there should be no parking on the main streets at all. Move the parking all off the main street, get people out of their cars. That's where they shop, not in their cars. So now, when it comes to parking, I believe we should leave the parking on Main Street all the same. And I believe that the 47 spots that are available in Sidewalk Park in the premium parking areas should be made available in the summer tourist season with a blue parking kiosk where you enter your license plate and the parking stall you're in, and that be monitored by Robbins. But this is just my thoughts moving forward, and that we collect as much money as we can, or even if it's revenue neutral, we're not giving preference to, because a resident says I can't park there in the summer, or a visitor. I'm a user pay kind of guy. When the tourist comes to town, much like when you go to Tofino Ucluelet, you pay a park fee, admittance fee, or wherever you park in downtown Victoria, you pay a fee to park your car in premium spots. So I think we should seriously look at that moving forward, but depends what council thinks and the final road we want to take on all of this. Maybe through that tourism group as well. So that's what I believe. And we could still leave 6 or 7 spots over facing the train for the museum people if we don't want to charge the museum people. But all that relies on enforcement with what comes every summer here. It's the Wild West show when it comes to parking. If we're not giving out tickets, if we're not towing cars, if we're not charging a fee, we will see no benefit, and we will always get the complaining about how parking is in the summer. So if we do charge in Sidewalk Park in those 47 premium spots, it will actually encourage people to look elsewhere for parking. And we have plenty of parking in main streets, the high school parking lot, down Point Ideal. And I've heard rumors that we may look into future creation of more parking at the bottom end of Centennial Park as a possible project. So those are my thoughts on this. And I don't think this is the final conversation on this, but that's up to the will of council as well. So thank you very much for letting me talk on that, because I've given this a lot of thought and went down and counted all those spots today. And if it was $5 for 4 hours, you guys can do the math and figure out how much that funding might contribute to other tourism amenities or projects in the town or parking areas, if that's what need to be created.
Superintendent Sandu, and you're muted.
There it is.
Yeah.
Just to elaborate on the parking Bob was talking about beside Centennial Field there, it would be the section between off of Point Ideal Road, between that and the ballpark, where it's town-owned property, and we can quite easily create a parking lot there and possibly lease it to the Tube Shack and or Jake's. We just have to come up with a plan. I've had some discussions with them, and we're just carrying on working on that, see how that's going to work out for everybody. The town would charge them a fee per month, and then they can do how they feel, would in charge X number of dollars per car that parks there or whatever.
Thank you. So a few things that I was wondering about is when you have the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 from Robbins parking. So they're just giving us options.
Just options, yes.
Okay. And the one that I was questioning was if they do come up here, how are they going to provide the fee? Because we know Robbins isn't going to come up here all the way to, you know, possibly mark 2 or 3 dozen tires in one day.
No, it's the town would be paying them, so it's not cheap for them to provide their services. There's a couple of options where either they come up and do it, or they can rent us the equipment and train some of our staff to monitor it. It's a little bit cheaper that way, but then we also don't have adequate staff to be able to do it.
Time consuming, thank you. And also, I think when Mayor Day was talking and yourself were talking about different areas to park in, I think when you say no parking in some areas, you also need to provide people with possible solutions as to where to park. So it would be nice if we could have some directional signage that says, you know, parking available at, and then wherever we may choose, whether it's being charged or not. And can you also answer my question? So is the Tube Shack staying and doing business at their current location this year?
I'm not 100% sure that that's their business. I didn't ask that kind of question, but I'm assuming that is, because they didn't indicate they're not. And we talked about the parking situation. So.
Okay, when you were talking down along Point Ideal Road, I was wondering if maybe you had that conversation.
Yes.
So we'll still wait for a full report and I guess more input from council. And as Councillor Sandu said, when we have our tourism meeting. So does anyone else have any other questions? Mayor Day? And then Councillor McGonigal. I almost called you Mayor McGonigal.
Well, I
Mayor-
was enacting one for a while. So
Yeah.
the
Mayor
roll is
McGo-
over.
Mayor McGonigal or Mayor McDay. Sounds like a McDonald's menu item anyways. So I just wanted to let you all know that, you know what, the modern day parking scheme is not a meter and a guy with a piece of chalk on a stick. It's a simple matter of the same way as we do our water meter reading. You can simply drive along and the computer will pick up your license plate number because you've entered that into the blue kiosk. You've tapped it to give your payment, and it'll tell if that person has overstayed and automatically issue a report to the people who are administrating that ticketing process or the fine process or whatever. I'm sure there's a multiple ranges of things that can be done to penalize the persons that overstay their welcome. But so it's not as hard as it seems, or what some of us old timers think it used to be. It's not as labor consuming as it is
Good.
thought.
Okay, Councillor McGonigal.
Thank you very much. And I think we found out last year that the Tube Shack and Jake's were not the main contributors to the parking problem there. It was the people coming up with their own tubes to utilize the river. 70 to 75% of the people who were coming were their own equipment to go into the river there. So we can't put the full blame on those business entities within that downtown core, but by directing perhaps their clients to an alternate site would free up some of that room for our regular everyday users of the downtown core. We're not going to solve it all with 1 year. I think this will be a learning curve as to what works and what the deficiencies are within our infrastructure in accommodating an increase of 100 to 150% population within those months. So it'll be a start. I don't see it as an exorbitant moneymaker. If we break even and we've accommodated some calming within that downtown core, then I think we've done justice.
Yeah, like I was saying last meeting, this will just be a template and it'll be a working one for quite a while. Councillor Austin?
Yes, I just had a question. Thank you. How are the fees going to be collected? Because, you find somebody, they live in Victoria, how are the fees going to be collected?
Mayor Day, you wish to answer that?
I'd happily defer to the superintendent if he has the answer to that.
So on that, Robbins has a system set up with ICBC and stuff, so they have a method of collecting it. And any fees that are collected, they will be split 50-50 between Robbins and the town. So, and to use Robbins, it is quite expensive. So I don't think the town won't be making any money. It'll probably be costing us some money to have them, if their crew is going to come up and monitor it.
Okay, thank you. Gives us lots to think about.
Yeah.
So we'll move on. We have no delegations tonight, and we have, oh,
Excuse
sorry,
me, Madam Chair. Councillor Sandu and myself had our hands up, so
I see
if
that.
it's okay.
Go ahead.
Councillor Sandu.
Yep. I was going, did we have a delegation I wasn't aware of?
No, I just went blank. Oh my God. Mayor Day, please, and it'll come back to me. Sorry.
We'll work it out. So just as far as collection goes, it's no different than buying gas with a card or a tap at the gas station. Yeah, I can simply tap my card now with one tap and I get gas. So the parking system with the blue kiosk it automatically debits your bank account with the parking fee. So it's just be the penalties after that the province will be responsible for. Thank you.
So through to the public works superintendent, would there be like a contract with Robbins? Like if we went with them, like a year contract, or is it a seasonal? Like, is there options to those kind of, or have you had that discussion? We don't need to go into detail, but there's.
It would be a contract and we can make it for whatever term we need them. Like if we need them for 4 months or 5 months or 2 months, we just.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Day?
Yes, thank you. Would it be okay if I asked or gave direction to staff to provide or have a report ready within the next week or two to have available for that tourism meeting so that we could give a more educated opinion on what the cost with Robbins would be should they come, and if there's a shortfall, then that could give us some food for thought. at $5 a parking spot for 4 hours for the 2 or 3 months there, I think it might be a pretty close to balancing that budget. If that's okay, if we could have that prepared for that meeting, that'd be awesome.
If we had that additional parking lot, yes, definitely it would, we could probably even generate some money, but just the parking lots at Saywell, I don't think it'll cover it, but I'll put a report together for that.
So can I open up another can of worms? If we do proceed with the metered parking and have Robbins come up, would this be a good time to perhaps look at the boat launch and the marina? Just a thought.
In what sense? For parking, charging for parking?
Yes. Yeah.
No. Yeah, we're probably gonna put something at the marina or the boat ramp this year, something similar to what's up at the Sandy Dump. Just try it out, see how that works. And then we can give it a year and see how that works out. And then we could maybe even go to the blue kiosk or whatever Bob refers to with a credit card or a debit card or whatever.
Mhm.
Those take power, and it's quite a bit. They're about $10,000 to buy this machine.
Well, I guess I'd ask another question. If we have to do the blue and the power goes in, who pays the power to hook it up? Is it Robbins with our contract or the town of Lake Cowichan?
No, the town would have to.
Town would have to do that. Okay, thank you. Lots to think about. So we're back to sorry, did I see a wave? No, okay. No correspondence. There's two different screens, as you know, got me. And the sun. I'm not complaining. No correspondence. And so we're going to move into the verbal comment from the public on a subsequent item on the agenda. So we'll take a 3-minute break, and you can either email any questions you might have to general@lakecowichan.ca, or the phone lines are open at 250-749-6681. Thank you. We'll be back at 6:25. Never thought I'd see the time that I'd be complaining the sun is in my eyes.
It's a good feeling, and it feels even better when it's on your back.
think we're just waiting for Councillor McGonigal to come back. Oh, there he is. Okay, Joseph, is there any letters?
No, no letters or telephone calls.
No phone calls. Everyone's enjoying the weather, I think. So then we'll move on to reports from our, oh, we'll have to wait for our superintendent to come back on screen. So we all received all of our reports for so the first one is from our Public Works. I went by the community garden here on the weekend and saw lots of work there with tree removal. I don't know if that was dangerous trees, but it's looking good to see crews out all over the place doing some work. And I think I had one question though, but I think I'll save that for him. There he is, Mr. Sandu. You're on mute, please. So we're going with your first report.
Okay, the Public Works one?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, yeah, any questions on it, or do you want me to go item through item on it, or?
Absolutely. We got 2 hours to kill.
You do realize one of the last meetings I fell asleep in it. So we've done some more tree removal. One was at King George Roundabout, and then at our Pine Street pump station, we've taken a few trees out there. They were dangerous to our main pump station there, and there's one more we still need to take out, which is the roots of it have gone down into our sewer, one of our sewer mains, and plugged it. So we got to take that tree out too. Yeah, so that's the one I was just talking about. The next line was it's completely blocked one of our sewer lines. We had to get a root cutter in and partially open it, but it's not still operating properly. So once that tree's gone, we're gonna have to dig out the whole pipe and redo it. Catch basins and culvert maintenance, that's just an ongoing thing. We'll keep on doing that for another month or so until the rains and stop, and then we'll clean all our catch basins out, potholes around town again, and that's we're just patching them as we see them coming. Sanitary pump stations, we've done some maintenance. We got on Pine Street, we got some more to do, and that'll take place in the summer when we got the least amount of flow in there. Arbutus Street, sanitary I&I, the engineering work is now complete, and it's been approved, and we'll be sending that out for quotes fairly quickly once you guys have approved the budget, so I can spend the money on it. And I think we're gonna present that to you in the
Next meeting.
To ask for that approval.
Perfect.
So the oil spill that was on Park Road, that's Stantec Engineering was hired by the insurance company to oversee the cleanup, which has been going fairly well. I'm getting daily reports on that, and all the costs on the private property and public property, the river, the insurance companies paying for all the cleanup on it. The lady she had good insurance, so it was good that they're covering everything. Yeah, this one's been on the list for quite a while. The Boomstick repair around our water intake. I talked to the contractor a couple of days ago, and he indicated that he would have it complete this week. We had a few snow events. Most of the clearing went fairly well there. Street sweeping crews. We haven't done a lot of sweeping right now. We're gonna wait till all the sanding and stuff's finished. We don't want to sand one day and sweep the next day. So, and hopefully in another couple of weeks, when the weather's improved, we'll go through and sweep all the streets around town. And our spring and summer projects and planning is again just carrying on. Reminder to all the residents that if they can keep the sidewalks, boulevards adjacent to their property clean, that would be appreciated by all public works and all residents actually. And a reminder to that there's going to be a change on our curbside organics November through January, that they'll only be picked up every second weekend.
So will the organic and the garbage be the same weekend or alternates?
Same
The same weekends, okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're just the garbage, they weren't being fully full all the time, and we've got to do some cost savings. Our last year's budget went over what we're collecting, so we've got to look at that closely. And that's about it. If there's any questions.
And on to your sidewalk replacement list.
Okay, sidewalk, yeah, so this list, we went around town and had a look, and this was a few of us, we just put our thoughts together, and this is the list I made up and sent to Urban Systems as they requested, and some of these we'll start working on, but it's just a lot of this is for either if we can get a grant or budgeting purposes. This is a lot of dollars to do everything here.
And so question number 9, it's South Shore Road from 154 to 162. Is that the area where the new daycare is?
It is, yes.
Okay,
So that section there, it's had a lot of pitting and rough spots. So from the daycare right around J&B's, we'll probably remove that and replace that sidewalk.
Okay.
It'll be just a sidewalk. I don't think we need to do the curb and gutter there, just the sidewalk part. So, because the crew's they've had to do a bunch of patching there.
okay. Mayor Day has a question.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. Have all the gardening staff returned to work now, or are they being phased in gradually as the weather gets nicer and then more jobs crop up?
The 3 gardeners are back as of today. The summer students won't be starting for a while yet.
And just a quick follow-up. Will any of those folks be working on Saturdays or weekend days?
Yeah, that's a separate issue we have to talk about. Maybe when we deal with personnel.
Okay. So we'll move on to your next report, which is the water treatment plant, please.
Water treatment plant is operating as it's supposed to be, the design and everything. So we haven't had any issues there. Everything's good. We're using less and less as the lake's clearing up, less and less coagulant and less all our additives, soda ash and everything. It's reducing as the lake's clearing up.
And on the issue of aluminum, I think the source of the high levels is because of the raw water. I think the tests have proven that.
The tests have proven that, yes.
Councillor Sandu.
Sorry, I missed what Joe and the superintendent were saying.
We're talking about the aluminum, and the source of the high levels basically because of the raw water source. It has a high aluminum content to begin with.
And is there any solution for bringing that down once it enters our water treatment?
Yeah, we've sent that off to Island Health, and we're working with them to come up with a solution. But at the end of the day, if we just get rid of the chemicals, I guess that might bring it down some more. I'm not sure. I think we're working on that. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, some things are beyond our control.
Control, correct.
Yeah. Any more questions on that report? Okay, so we'll move on to your next report, which is, it's the operations performance report on the water treatment. And I guess that's there for us to-
Information.
Yeah, for information. Does anyone have any questions of our superintendent? Mayor Day?
Just, I have 100% confidence in this report and the superintendent's abilities, but at some point in the future, would it be okay, because we're not able to do a water treatment plant tour, a virtual tour, but could we get our operator to just come on board and just walk through this report, say take 10 minutes, and just for the public to get a better understanding, and even some of us, so that I would appreciate that too, if that could be arranged at some point. Being as how they could do that from home instead of coming all the way back from work. And thank you.
I think you can do a PowerPoint presentation if that's what you want.
And my apologies if maybe there was a PowerPoint done before my time, but it would just certainly be interesting to for me and as well the public to sort of get a water treatment plant 101.
Yeah, especially now that we're on YouTube where the public can read at their own leisure, it would be a good idea to have that on there. So with anyone else have any more? Mayor, there we go again. See, Mayor McCheese.
Happy to share the position with you tonight, sir.
Well, see, Councillor Austin started it this morning by calling you guys twins. So now, I can't tell one from the other.
There you go. I got the gray.
Councillor McDonald. I just told the mayor earlier, I said, you know what? I'm still tongue-tied during these YouTube meetings. There you go. Let's try again. And even your name's on the screen. Councillor McGonigal.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction, Councillor Womack.
Awesome.
Through you, if I may, to the superintendent and CAO. Within the water treatment plant, there was talk of training within our crew. I'm wondering if all those who have wished to move forward with training have been afforded that opportunity. And I'm looking at successorship should we need to look at a level 3 and how we would be accommodating in-house training to get to that level. So I'm just wondering if those within Public Works have been afforded the opportunity. I know they have. And at what level are we within the training process? COVID was a problem last year. I'm hoping that perhaps this year we can afford some of those that do want that training the ability to do that.
Again, if I may, I think because it's a personnel issue, we can probably address that at a separate meeting and give you a little more detail.
I just wanted to get that out there that successorship is a real need in water treatment. When we do need a level 3, they're hard to find.
Yeah, it's ongoing. That's at this stage of the game, we can say that.
That's all I need to know.
Okay, not seeing any more hands here, so we have no new business. And we have Mayor Day on notice of motion for tourism amenities.
Thank you. This could possibly be an item for the next finance and admin meeting, and staff may wish to do a little bit of homework on this. I'm not sure, but I would just like to put forward the notion of creating a policy or a bylaw that would allow, and I know some of us may cringe at this, but that we collect a $2 environmental levy of some kind, and I don't know what jurisdiction we would have on that, so that could be some homework for staff. on each inner tube or flotation device sold or rented in our community during the tubing season for us to payable to the town from the retailer or the rentals agencies that do rent out these items, so that we can put it back into infrastructure needs for, say, tourism. I mean, we wouldn't have to target it, but it just goes along with the philosophy of a user pay instead of the taxpayers of Lake Cowichan paying for amenities at the waterfront for tubers to use and upgrades in the washrooms. And it may not be fair for just all of the residents. And Mrs. Smith down the road from me paying for all those amenities, but she's never tubed in her life. But do a user pay system, much like it couldn't mimic the municipal room tax because that's a provincial legislated tax. But when you go and stay in a hotel room, you pay fees towards a government agency to help supplement, for instance, with the municipal room tax goes to support the activities, and correct me if I'm wrong, of the Cowichan Tourism Society. I think I'm still correct on that. And that's why it was created, to support those activities and that agency. So just wondering if we could put a little bit of work in that and have a staff presentation at a future meeting, just to say if that's possible for starters, and if it's something council would wish to consider moving forward with.
I'll pass that over to our CAO because I think during the past 2 years, there was discussion on that. And I think it came down to the legalities of if we could. Am I correct?
You're correct. And so we can go back and research that a little more and come back with a little more in-depth report that will satisfy your needs.
And if I could just finalize that saying, okay, maybe it's not legal, but maybe it's something that the local operators would voluntarily do. And like, I don't know either what the legalities of it are, but it could be something the tourism group could discuss and put forward, and they might all agree that say, hey, yeah, just like we contribute to the river cleanup, we can contribute to this fund as well.
Absolutely. Councillor Sandhu?
I was just thinking with our businesses that sell tubes, if they have to explain a $2 charge to a customer, chances are that customer next time will just buy their tube in Duncan, and they're not going to pay $2 more for our infrastructure. So it is a good conversation to have, but we need to make sure that we're also that our businesses that do make this, get this income in the summer, that they are still going to have the customers coming back. So.
And that's the interesting conversation, because last year, when we had that influx of tourists to the area that we didn't think we'd get, I think when acting Mayor McGonigal was here, he asked me to keep my eyes out for the RCMP. We're doing tours over at the Saywell Park. And so each time I did go out and I looked, all I saw was a sea of blue and white tubes. And those aren't the types that are sold by our businesses in town. They were from Canadian Tire. So people were bringing a large majority that weekend for sure from out of town. They were coming prepared, probably because they thought that the river would be shut down and there would be no tubing. So yeah, that's a lot of conversation that needs to be had with that tourism group. So I think Councillor Austin had her hand up.
Just a
Yes,
point of order, Madam Chair. As
Sorry.
a notice of motion, we should not be debating
Oh.
this until it goes to a proper committee. So
Thank you.
the information should just be afforded as to what the topic is, and then we'll move to that appropriate committee.
So are we
That's-
asking?
Sorry about that.
That's what I was going to say,
Oh.
but thank you. You jumped in
Thank
there.
you. Mr. Fernandez.
Yeah, is this being directed to the next finance?
Okay, not to the agenda committee, just to finance. I gotta learn how to read lips. Okay,
I would say yes, if staff has the ability to do it in that short time frame.
okay, thank you. So we're back to any public relations items. Nothing going on? Nope. Okay, so we'll go to question period again, where we'll take a 3-minute pause. And you can send your questions to general@lakecowichan.ca, or you can phone in at 250-749-6681 with any questions you have had on tonight's meeting. And we will reconvene at 6:49.
Anybody get a chance to go out in their yard today in the beautiful sunshine? Like, holy cow.
Yeah, we got the rototilling done.
Oh, wow.
We had to borrow one. Nisers isn't renting them anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
Do you have one, Bob?
No, but I do know that Niser's a bit shy on their rental equipment these days.
Oh, that's funny, yeah.
My garden's only big enough I can dig it in by hand.
Well, I plant the green manure, so it's a thick grass and it's hard to dig, that hurts quite a bit.
Yeah, it does. The weather forecast shows 3 days of snow next week, but the temp high is 9 degrees and 8 degrees, so I don't expect it's going to stick around. Just be a quick flurry and bye.
Yeah.
Well, my cousin texted me a picture from Cumberland on Sunday, and they had snow.
Yes.
Cool.
It was like a blizzard. You took it like driving up the main road in Cumberland, and it was like a December blizzard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
they can have it.
Now, Prince Rupert was coated in snow too for 4 days.
Yeah.
What do they say about March? Comes in like a lion. And I always think back when they talk about climate change, and I think about the statement we learned in grade school about all those things, and it's still relatively true. It doesn't say like July, August, and September we'll have drought though.
Okay, I guess we don't have to wait. So do we have any phone calls or questions? Joseph?
No.
None? Okay, so with that, then I guess we will look for adjournment. Mayor Day, Councillor Sandu, I guess all in favor. And we'll return in, I guess 7 o'clock is close enough. Councillor Austin?
Yeah, I guess that's 10 minutes from now.
Yeah, 11 minutes. So we'll reconvene at 7 o'clock for our Parks
Okay.
and Culture Committee meeting. Thank you.